Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. So in today's episode, it's slightly different from normal. We're not in the gym today, we're in the kitchen. So I'm going to mix up the videos for you just so that you can see various different things that I do in terms of diet. So as I've said to you before, I'm a father of two. So one of the main things is obviously things like, family dinners and stuff. So it's a Sunday afternoon today. The family are wanting Sunday roast. So I'm going to make a macro friendly option for people that are maybe dieting. I'll talk about obviously things that you can do when obviously you're bulking, because I know not everyone is in a cutting setting just now, so it's depending on obviously what your calorie goals are. What we're going to be doing today is a roast chicken. We're going to be using some courgettes, carrots and red onions, so we're going to oven them so they're lovely and crisp. And then we're going to be using some roast potatoes. So again, this is all going to be macro friendly, low fat options, low calorie options. And then I have had a wee look today and I found a recipe for a low calorie option in terms of Yorkshire puddings. Something I've not made before, but it was saying that they're 24 calories per. And you can't have a roast dinner without Yorkshire puddings in my opinion. We're going to make some homemade gravy as well. Again, lower calorie option. And that should pretty much be us, and I'll show you along the way the different techniques that I'm using. So one thing is obviously utilising things like an air fryer. That's definitely going to help. You obviously put the chicken in the main oven. If you want to try and put it in the air fryer, then by all means, but for me I've got a double air fryer, but it certainly wouldn't fit a chicken. So we're going to be using obviously the potatoes today. So when I was in the supermarket, I'm always looking at the back of these, so some tips I'll give you along the way. A lot of people, will look at a white potato and just think every white potato is the same, which, not everyone, don't get me wrong, people are definitely more educated nowadays, but especially when I was younger, my idea of nutrition was terrible. It was always just low fat, surviving off Snacker Jacks, because they were low fat, and at that point, obviously, I was wanting to get as lean as possible. But body composition, was not putting any muscle on. The diet was not there. But as you get older, the more educated you are, that's when you start realising your food choices are definitely going to make a massive difference in your overall body composition. So for instance, we have here, so these are just standard Scottish white potatoes. So the main thing that I'm looking at the back here was things in terms of the carbs. So normally, traditionally, it'll break it down 100 grams per. So on this one, 17.5 grams, which for me is really good. This was the lowest that I could find. Compare that with the Maris Piper that they had on offer. That was 30 grams. So you can see there, that's 13 grams per 100. So I'll probably have between 2 to 300 grams per meal if I'm going to have potatoes. So right there, you're already saving yourself an additional 30 grams. If you're on a bulking setting, as I say, by all means, switch to the higher calorie option. It's going to be easier for you to get those calories in. I know a lot of people do struggle sometimes when it comes into bulking settings to get those calories in. So this is something that I'll be doing. I'm going to be doing a lot more recipes. I'm going to show you what I would do if you're obviously looking to cut, and then an alternative, which would be what you could maybe add to this if you're bulking, because for me it's going to depend on your goal, and a lot of different recipes can very much be tweaked depending on your goals. So these are definitely a good example. Other things are things like rice, switching to basmati. Obviously, most people should know the things like the jasmine rices and the sticky rices. They're going to be much more higher calories. General rule of thumb is the tastier it is, the more calories are probably going to be in it. Another good thing would be pastas. Pastas are really, they can vary significantly in terms of carbs. So when I was obviously coming up and cutting, one of the things that I noticed, especially when I was looking at the various types of pasta, it could be massive, between 20 and 30 grams per 100 grams. So again, it's just educating yourself. Don't be scared, take that extra wee bit of time in the supermarket, have a look at the back and make sure it's going to be, more bang for your buck. So again, in a cutting environment where I'm at, I'm looking to get as much volume out of my meals as possible with not going over the targeted macronutrients and calories. So we'll do this just now. So I'm going to show you how to do it. So we're going to probably kick on with the chicken. That's going to go in the oven. From the packet saying about 130 minutes. So I've got a wee thermometer, I'll check it throughout, but I'm going to show you how I prep all these and, you know, add different seasonings to it, different herbs, and again, not adding calories. Things like, you know, your mustards are great things to add in, very low calories. Your herbs and seasonings are all going to be very low in calories. So for me, I always say, don't be scared, you know, to add these types of things in. You don't need to have your bland chicken and your bland rice. If there's things like seasonings, salts, peppers, you know, different, you know, hot sauce is a great addition as well. A lot of people use hot sauce now. You get Frank's Red Hots, these types of things, they add that extra bit of flavour. And for me, it's about consistency. If you're going to be able to consistently eat that meal over a long duration, then these tricks will definitely help you along the way. It's just going to mean that you're going to do it for a foreseeable period of time, rather than, you know, a fad. Do it for a week, get sick of it, and then you're back off your diet. So let's crack on with the meal. Okay, so we're going to crack on with the roast potatoes now. So what I'm going to do is I'll peel these. I won't film the whole process, I'm pretty sure most people know how to peel a potato, and then we'll show you the next stage on how to get that crisp effect, okay? Okay, so now I have peeled the potatoes, so in total I'm going to be using 6. So this is for obviously 2 adults and 2 young children, so I might have some left over, but that's okay. Ultimately, as I said, I'm going to be weighing this out. So for me, you just want to cut them up into nice squares, and I will show you where I would say would be the perfect size. My nail skills are not the best, so for me I would say 3 cuts, and then ideally I'd be saying roughly about that size. So yeah, so let's just cube them. Ideally you don't want them too big, they are going to take forever in the air fryer to cook. So I'll just crack on with this, and we'll get on to the next point. So I know most people will say you need to wash potatoes, and for me I do that, but each to their own. For me, I think just get all that starchiness off it, and then you should be able to pat dry and then add your seasonings, which should be perfect. So I'm making an absolute meal of this, so I'm going to turn the camera off and join me when it is all prepped and ready to go. Okay, so next part we're going to part boil. So as you can see here, I have rinsed them off for a couple of minutes, and now what we're going to do is just boil them. So for me, this is a lot easier. This is a Jamie Oliver secret. So part boil them, add the boiling water, and we're going to put some seasoning in, so just some salt, and then just part boil them. I'd say no more than sort of 10 minutes. You just want to get them slightly cooked, and then we'll drain them, and then I'll show you the next part. So we're just going to prep the carrots, so exactly similar to just what we did with the potatoes. Just give them a nice wee quick peel, take 2 seconds, and then nip the ends off. And then we're just going to cut these into smaller strips, just so they cook a lot quicker, and that's when you normally get a nice caramelisation. The thicker they are, just the longer it's going to take, and less sort of crispiness you're going to get. So let's do this, we'll do this, and then we'll do the courgette, then we'll move on to the next stage. Now we're just pretty much finished with the root veg, so I've cut it into cat and battens here, as you can see. Just put it in a bowl. I've got the courgette nice and thin, added in some red onion, and then what I've done for seasoning is I've just added this balsamic vinegar, not glaze. Glaze is much higher in calories. However, I'm going to be adding in some honey, so I've just weighed out here, and I've just added additional 10 grams of honey. What the honey will do is really help with that caramelisation. And now all I'm going to do is put it in the air fryer. So every wee trick for you, obviously air fryers can get quite dirty and you're forever cleaning them. So especially something like this, just shove some grease-proof paper, and it just means that you don't need to go through cleaning it. Obviously I do clean it, but this is just a top tip, you don't need to clean it as often. So let's just throw it in. Okay, so we're going to move on and attempt the new recipe, which is these Yorkshire puddings. So I've just weighed out 80 grams of plain flour, and then the recipe says for 2 eggs to be added, which is fine. down quickly. And then I'm just going to add in 50 grams of milk. So I'm using semi-skimmed. So again, just weighing it out. 46, that's plenty. And then all I need to do now is just whisk this up, and then we will preheat. I've got little ramekins that I can use, so muffin basically tray, and then preheat them, mix this up, and then we'll stick it in. So the main reason they're so high in fat is traditionally you'll be pouring the batter into oil, but we're going to be using this just with a couple of sprays. So I'm interested to see how this turns out. But yeah, let's crack on. Right, okay, so we're on the final stretch here. So I'm just going to make these corn on the cob. So as you can see, I bought 2, so I've just halved them. There's 4 of us, so that's 4. And all you do is just put them in a container, a little bit of water, put the lid on, and then shove them in the microwave for 6 minutes. And then we're just going to use the granules for the gravy. So again, macros on this really small, so 2.1 per 100 mils, and that's a fat, and 2.9, so absolutely negligible on those, so that should be good. If you want to tart up your gravy, obviously you can put in, you know, fry up some onions and that type of thing. Right, okay, so just doing the Yorkshire puddings now. So I've preheated, as you can see, the little tray that I'm using. I've sprayed it with the low cal, 1 cal spray, and just poured them in. So I'm going to make 6 on this. So when I'm calculating this, I've just taken all the ingredients, and then depending on how many you're going to eat, you just divide it. So on this one, obviously if you're having 1, divide by 6. If you're having 2, divide by obviously the 6 and then times by 2. So perfect. That's simple maths. Shove them in, and just need to keep an eye on them. Right, okay, so now on to the probably the best part. So I've just made the gravy there. I don't have a gravy boat, so My Protein are sponsoring this one. If you want to have this post-workout, I probably wouldn't recommend. And now the totties are done. So as you can see, lovely and golden, crispy, and soft on the inside, so absolutely perfect. So all I need to do now is just weigh this out. So I'm looking for 200, which is rather, I might actually go with 150. Yeah, let's go 150. That's more potato than I thought. So that's 150, which is absolutely perfect. And now we just need to cut up the chicken. So the only difference probably I would say for this is, because I'm on a diet, I'm going to be using purely the chicken breast meat on this one. So I won't be using the darker meats, I won't be eating the skin, and I won't be eating like the legs and that type of thing. So that's probably the only difference from, you know, just using any part of it. It's definitely the leanest part, and for me that's going to meet my goals. It still means that I can enjoy it. I'm still enjoying everything else. You know, I've got roast potatoes here, I've got the mixed veg, which has come out okay. Some of it is obviously quite shriveled up, but for me, absolutely perfect. And then Yorkshire Yorkshire puddings are definitely looking on the rise, pardon the pun. That's the chicken out, so I'll try and hold it up without dropping it. But it looks okay, looks good. These are nice and simple. Trick to it is, don't keep opening up the oven, and make sure when you're buying it, there's not a hole in the bag, because if there's a hole in the bag, it's not going to cook the way you want it. Right, okay, so we're pretty much nearly finished. Just going to take these Yorkshire puddings out, and to be honest with you, they are looking pretty good, if you don't mind me saying so. So I'm just going to show you here. So some have come out better than others, but as you can see, they look pretty good. Not bad for the first effort. So I'm just going to plate this up. So I had a quick look on MyFitnessPal, plugged all this in as I said, so every part of the ingredients, even the honeys, all that type of thing. So it's basically coming out at just under 500 calories, so 50 grams of protein, 59 grams of carbs, and 8 grams of fat. So definitely can't argue with that. That's a full Sunday roast dinner. But yeah, thanks everyone for watching, and tomorrow I'll be posting the legs workout. Thank you.